All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS, and Shalom to you, brothers, pushing this truth. I'm Karat Zahbar, back with another show. And this show, I'm going to be focusing on Romans chapter 9, verse 24, where it speaks about the Jew and the Gentiles. And I want to go into the word ethnos, the Greek word for Gentiles, okay, and show you how it's applied to Israel. And when I say Israel, I mean the house of Israel, the northern kingdom, the 10 tribes, all right? Because you have a lot of Christians that try to go into the Greek word Gentile, and show how it applies to all nations, all right? And that God is dealing with all nations, but that's not so. When you go into the word Gentile and the Greek word ethnos, is actually applying to the house of Israel, all right, which is the 10 tribes. But let's go into the verse. So this is Romans chapter 9, verse 24. So it says, we're gonna go straight to the point. So it says, even us whom he hath called, not the Jews only, but also the Gentiles. Right? So a Christian will read this and think that the Jews could be a part of the faith, and the Gentiles, which are the heathen nations. Okay, well, look up the word Gentile. So the Greek word is ethnos.
Strong's G 1484. Ethnos. Ethnos.
It reads a multitude, whether of men or beasts, associated or living together, a company, troop, swarm, a multitude of individuals of the same nation or genus, the human family, a tribe, nation, people, group. In the Old Testament, foreign nations not worshiping the true God, pagans, Gentiles. Paul used this term for Gentile Christians, right? So nowhere in the definitions does it isolate anything pertaining to Israel, okay? And this is why Christians love to go here, because generally the Greek word ethnos applies to all nations, okay? But the Most High does things in mysteries, all right? The Most High does things in parables and sayings. The Most High does not make everything direct. But though this word generally applies to all nations, the Gentiles receiving salvation are Israelites. Now let's read on. Let's read it again. So it says, even us whom he hath called, not of the Jews only, but also the Gentiles. So it says not of the Jews only, but also the Gentiles. Now it reads, verse 25, as he saith, and also in OC, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and my beloved, which is not my beloved. Right? So Christians, they think that God is calling nations, foreign nations, because they were not the Most High's people. But this scripture is referencing, it says, as it said, OC. What is OC? The book of Hosea. So now we got to go to the book of Hosea to find out who was not called the Most High's people. So let's go to Hosea. Hosea chapter 1, and that's Hosea chapter 1. We're going to go straight to the point. So this is Hosea chapter 1. And this is what, I'm going to go straight to the point. When you read the chapter, the Most High told Hosea to deal with a harlot, which would represent, the harlot would represent, is a representation of Israel. Okay? Because the house of, the nation of Israel played the harlot against the Most High, because the Most High was married unto us, but Israel went a whoring after other gods and wanting to be like other nations. Okay, so like symbolically, a wife being a whore. That's the Most High's wife was being a harlot. Okay, which is the nation of Israel. So this is Hosea 1:6. Okay, yeah, and Hosea had these 3 children by this harlot, which all represented something. So let's go Hosea 1:6. It says, "And she conceived again and bare a daughter. And God said unto him, Call her name Leruhamah, for I will no more have mercy upon the house of Israel, but will utterly take her away." Right. So this daughter, which name was Leruhamah, which means no mercy. So this daughter was a representation of how the Most High was not going to have mercy upon the house of Israel. The house of Israel are the northern kingdom, the 10 tribes. But I will have mercy upon the house of Judah. Yeah. So, but the Most High was going to have mercy upon the house of Judah, which were Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, the Jews. Fast forwarding to the New Testament, and will save them by the Lord their power. It will not save them by bow, nor by sword, nor by battle, by horses, nor by horsemen. Now, when she had weaned Leruhamah, she conceived and bare a son. Now, this is another child they was going to have. Then said God, Call his name Lo-Ami, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your God. Right. So it says, for ye are not my people. Okay. Which was talking about the house of Israel. So the Most High called the house of Israel not my people. And this son was a representation on how the northern kingdom was no longer going to be the Lord's people. Verse 10, Yet the number of the children of Israel should be as the sand of the sea, which can not be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people, there shall it be said unto them, Ye are the sons of the living God. Right. So this is all applying to Israel. Israel was the one that was going to be called not the Most High's people, but they was going to return. Okay, because the Most High said, look, you're going to be called the children of God, the sons of the living power. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together. So now we understand that the ones who is not my people are Israel. So when you go back to Romans and it speaks about the Jew and the Gentile, it's talking about the Jew, the house of Judah, and the Gentile being the house of Israel. But let's read this verse and go back to it. So it says, Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land, for great shall be the day of Jezreel. So this is deliverance to the both houses of Israel. All right. Why? Because Israel, which was not the Most High's people, which was going to return and be the Most High's people. Let's go back to Romans 9. Romans 9, 24. Even us, whom he hath called, not of the Jews only, but also the Gentiles, right? The Jews being the house of Judah, the Gentiles, which are the Ethnos, being the house of who? Israel, the northern kingdom. Okay? Because what you have to understand is the Jews wouldn't really fall under the Ethnos. Okay? The Jews who went astray will fall under the Hellen and the Hellenists. Okay? The Greek Hellenization. Because the northern kingdom was not Hellenized. The northern kingdom did not go through Greek captivity. Hellenization. When the Greeks Hellenized the world. When the Greeks came in and Hellenized the world, the northern kingdom was on the other side of the world. on the Americas. All right. So when the New Testament speaks about the Gentiles, the ethnos being saved, that applies to the northern kingdom. All right. And what I want to say, because and they would be considered, non-Israelites. Why? Because the Most High casted them off. All right, they was not going to be called the Most High people. So Israel was the one that was not called the Most High's people. So they would be considered heathen nations. Okay, so this is why this word applies to them. That says, as it says in OC, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not my beloved. Right. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, we just read that in Hosea, and it was applying to Israel and not heathen nations. There shall they be called the children of the living power. Right. So Israel, the house of Israel, which were the 10 tribes, they was the ones that the Most High called not my people, not the heathen nations. Okay, so if Israel was called not my people, that would mean that Israel was no longer of the sons of God or the Lord's people for that particular time. So that would mean that Israel for that particular time would be considered heathens, nations. Why? Because they were no longer Israelites in the eyes of the Most High. Let's get some more scriptures. So the Gentiles that's now coming to the fold or spoken of receiving salvation, it was talking about the Israelites that God have cut off from being his people and were considered heathens. Let's go to 2 Kings chapter 2. Salakia, 2 Kings. Second Kings 17, verse 18. 2 Kings 17:18. Therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel, this is the 10 tribes, and removed them out of his sight. Right. And that was when so the Assyrian captivity was where the Most High cut off Israel from being when the Most High cut off Israel from not being his nation anymore. All right. And removed them out of the land of Israel, and they went into captivity, and from there to the Americas from there. All right. And never been back in the land of Israel since. So it says, therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel and removed them out of his sight, that there was none left but the tribe of Judah only. Right. So this is the Lord only dealing with the tribe of Judah. Fast forward into the New Testament, you have the Jews that are on the scene. Okay. The house of Israel is no longer there. The house of Israel are considered heathen nations. The house of Israel is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Okay. The house of Israel are in a Gentile state and not worshiping in Jerusalem, not worshiping in the land of the Lord. Okay? So it says, that's pretty much all I need. I can read on. Let me see. Yeah, that's pretty much. But this you could read on. Whoever's watching can read down the few couple of verses. But from there, I want to go to Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 8. Jeremiah 3 and 8, and it reads, and I saw when for all the causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away. Right. So the house of Israel, backsliding Israel, committed adultery. Meaning what? The house of Israel, they were fully into idolatry and worshiping the gods of the heathens. All right, which was the house of Israel was married unto the Most High. So the house of Israel played the harlot, they played the whore, and gone pretty much sleeping with other nations. So it reads, I had put her away. Yeah, so the Most High put her away, divorced her, and gave her a bill of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Judah feared not, but went and played the harlot also. Right. So the Most High divorced the house of Israel, which were the 10 tribes, and put her away. So Israel was no longer married unto the Lord or joined unto the Lord. Okay. So also this is like another way of saying that the house of Israel was no longer the Most High's people. Okay. Because what joined us to the Most High, was His law, statutes, and commandments. That was like the marriage. That was like the marriage contract. All right, and Israel pretty much broke the contract, so the Most High removed them. The Most High is no longer dealing with them. Okay, so if they're not the Lord's people, they would be considered heathens. From there, let's go to Jeremiah 7. Jeremiah 7, verse 15. Jeremiah 7 and 15. And I will cast you out of my sight, as I have cast out all your brethren. Right? So this is the Most High telling Judah, the house of Judah, look, I will cast you out of my sight, even as I cast out your brethren. And it says, it says, as I have cast out all your brethren, even the seed of Ephraim. Right? The seed of Ephraim. Ephraim is a representation of the whole northern kingdom. Okay? So the Lord cast out the seed of Ephraim, which is the 10 tribes. So the Most High, look, He's telling Judah, I will cast you out of my sight as I did your brethren, the seed of Ephraim, which was the house of Israel. Why? Because the seed of Ephraim, or the house of Israel, were no longer the Most High's people at this point. I'm going to get one more. Let's go to the book of Hosea, chapter 9. Hosea chapter 9, verse 17. Hosea chapter 9, verse 16. And it reads, Ephraim is smitten, their root is dried up. They shall bring no fruit. Yea, though they bring forth, yet will I slay even the beloved fruit of the womb. My God will cast them away, because they did not slack it. My God will cast them away, because they did not hearken unto Him, and they shall be wanderers among the nations. Right. So Ephraim. So this is judgment upon Ephraim, the house of Ephraim. All right, not just the tribe. Ephraim is a representation of the 10 tribes. So the Most High said, look, I will cast them away, and they was going to be wanderers among the nations. So so the house of Ephraim, they were going to be wandering among the nations, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, living in a Gentile state of mind, living as Gentiles. All right, living as heathens, because they had no more. They no longer had the care and protection of the Most High upon them, and they were no more considered the Lord's people. All right. So when you read the New Testament and it speaks about the Gentiles and the ethnos apply is applying to the house of Israel. Okay. because Judah, Benjamin, Levi, they went into Greek captivity. All right, so when they fell away, they were Hellenized. Okay, they were Hellenized. So when you read those Greek words, the Hellenists or the Hellen is Greek speaking Jew. All right, and the Hellenists, those were applied to like the Jews that have fallen away from their heritage. But the ethnos applies to the southern kingdom. Why? Because Slakia, the northern kingdom, the 10 tribes, the ethnos will apply to the 10 tribes because they were not Hellenized. They were not there in the New Testament under Greek and Roman captivity. They were already scattered across the world, living in the Gentile state of mind. Okay? So those will be the ethnos returning into the Lord. So, with that, I hope brothers learn something. And I want to say all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS, and Shalom to the elect. Shalom.